Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you're joining us from in the world. I'm Charlene. It's so good to be with you. I'm glad you're here. All of our friends here on Insight Timer, as well as on YouTube. If you're joining us live, go ahead and drop your name and a hello and where you're joining us from in the chat. Good morning, Jane with a Y. I know Jane joins us from California. It's good to see you, my friend. Hello, Sizzle Sticks over on YouTube. I hope you're having a great day so far. It is Thursday, isn't it? It is a Thursday. It feels like it. Good morning, Lori. Lori joins us from Madison, Wisconsin. It's good to see you. I love seeing all of our smiling faces down here. In my profile on Insight Timer, what I get to see is I get to see all these happy faces just bouncing along the bottom of the screen. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. The bowls are... It's interesting. They're moving today. There's this moving between tonality. We're really living in this space of kind of moving between the major and the minor. So the slightly darker colors and the lighter colors. The colors that are a little bit more contracting and the colors that then expand us out. It'll be interesting to see how that interplays today. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you're joining us. As we like to say, we always expect the unexpected in every session. So sitting in front of you are 19 chromatically tuned quartz crystal singing bowls. All of the white keys and the black keys on a piano octave from middle C to that next octave above. And then some additional notes on the top and some notes on the bottom as well, just to really round out the sound and let us travel chromatically and harmonically in really interesting ways. Good morning, Monique. It's nice to see you. Hello, I'm glad you're here. So the great thing about the bowls is that because they're made out of this 99.99% pure quartz crystal, they're highly conductive of electricity. You know, that phone that you're holding in your hand or that laptop computer that's running, even the watch that's on your arm, that tablet sitting beside you. All of these wonderful electronic devices actually depend on the piezoelectric effect of a piezoelectric quartz. And quartz crystal is one of the most, if not the purest form of a mineral that conducts electricity in this way. So when I apply just enough pressure, what happens is I begin to excite the molecular makeup of these bowls, and it begins to dance in a way that moves energy. It actually generates voltage. And if you're sitting in front of the bowls, you absolutely feel this voltage beginning to pulse. And the reason for that is that, you see, quartz is made up of 3 silicon and 3 oxygen molecules. And these molecules, because they have opposite polarity, one's a negative and one's a positive charge, the way that they're positioned, whenever pressure is applied, there's almost this squeezing effect that happens on the molecular structure of these bowls and the quartz crystal itself that then begins to generate electricity. So that's the science behind it. And we know the woo. It feels cool and it really moves, and it does. And that's because of this really interesting molecular structure. So just a fun side note. I know we've actually never chatted about that before, but y'all know I love the science as much as I love the esoteric. It's all interwoven. So today, here we go. Now we're grounding. So today, we're going to really dive into this world of the archangelic frequencies, the higher frequencies. And today we're going to be chatting with, listening to, receiving from Archangel Raguel. Raguel is a really interesting archangel to me. Oh, yeah. Raguel actually his name means friend of God. And he's thought to be the angel of justice and fairness and harmony. He's all about bringing harmony to his space through balanced and just actions and intercourse. His name is known throughout antiquity. He's known by a variety of names. Let's see if I can get them all correct. Raguel, Rasuel, Raphael, which is different than Raphael, Surion, and then Acrasiel. But what's in a name? So in art, you might know that the angel that you're seeing in the painting in front of you is Raguel, because he's depicted frequently holding the scales of justice or a judge's gavel, which represents his work in fighting injustice in the world. And this idea of this triumph of good over evil, which archetypally, it's easy for people to really connect into, finding that balance between the light and the dark. So his angelic energy colors that people will frequently say that they experience or they see, that connect to Raguel are the pale blue and white colors. Really beautiful, pure, easy, very accessible colors. Now that doesn't mean that during the practice today, if you start seeing red, that you're talking to someone else. Remember, there's also difference between hue and color. Color interplays in a lot of different ways for our experience. It's just a frequency. And just like these bowls, the way we perceive light is very similar to the way we perceive sound. Just because you're hearing one note right now doesn't mean you're actually not experiencing a bunch of other tones as well that actually make up this particular note. We call it the harmonic series. And again, the science behind that, the math behind that shows that nothing ever exists in singularity unless it is all that is existing in singularity, and it's still comprised of everything, but a different topic. Pardon me. So Raguel is one of the 7 archangels listed in the writings of Enoch. Specifically, he is the angel of the earth. He's a guard of the 2nd or 4th heaven. In the book of Enoch 2, it's said that Raguel is the angel who transported the prophet Enoch, the writer back in the day in the Old Testament, the Torah, to heaven while Enoch was still in his human form. And remember that we talked about this last week. The prophet Enoch actually later became Archangel Metatron. And this event is actually also alluded to in Genesis 5, chapter 5, verse 24. It's also said in general that Raguel, I love this, he, quote, takes vengeance on the world of luminaries, which in today's vernacular basically is interpreted to mean that he brings other angels to account as well. So not only does he maintain balance in the angelic realms, he's in charge of maintaining the high standards of behavior of all of the archangels and the angels, but his mission is to make sure that the angelic realm honors its laws. Because just like we have laws of the universe here, the archangelic realm also has their own series of laws as well. It keeps balance within whatever dimensional state we're working in. It's not about a law, it's about the fundamental tone, the vibration in which everything works in perfect harmony. And when we get out of that place of perfect harmonization and purity of frequency, things begin to go a little bit awry. So Raguel likes to help us harmonize. And he does it both in heaven and on earth. He's very concerned about justice, this idea of delivering strength to people who are working to fight injustice here. And fight is a little bit of an intense verb there, but I think you get my drift. He also likes to work to help us experience fairness and peace. There you go. Raguel empowers people to solve problems on a personal level as well, that kind of skew us from that straight and narrow, and not only just a straight and narrow, but a balanced, that's that tightrope. How do you walk that balanced line across everything that exists above and below us? How are we treading our paths? And sometimes these things that will come up that Raguel will help us with is if we have a tendency or we fall into a place where it's easy to lie or to neglect, to create an oppression on another living being. 2 foots, 3 foots, 4 foots, no foots. This this idea of connecting, helping us recognize whenever we're leaning into gossip or slander or even harassment. So it's really interesting how Raguel shows up. So although current translations of the Bible actually don't mention Raguel, some scholars actually say that Raguel was named in some of the early manuscripts in the biblical books of Revelation that were kind of gently put aside, as many of the books were in the 4th century. And in this put aside book, it actually describes Raguel as one of God's assistants in separating those who have been faithful to Jesus Christ, from those who haven't. And the passage that it actually reads, it's in this book of Revelation, it says, quote, "And when he shall separate the sheep from the goats, that is the righteous from the sinners, the righteous on the right and the sinners on the left, then he shall send them to Angel Raguel." So there you go. Now, in current biblical manuscripts, Raguel is actually considered to be the, quote, the angel of the Church of Philadelphia. Probably not PA. And if City's in the house, how are you? Good to see you. I need to get back to the chat in a second. But and he urges people to work together in harmonious ways. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Finding harmony in accordance to divine will. And encourage everybody to keep the faith, whatever that faith is. This is not a religious pursuit. It's a connection to the divine. How do you define your connection to the divine? You get to put your own color and spin and feeling and frequency on your own spiritual path in this lifetime. The angels, because so many angels exist in so many different traditions, we know they're just a higher frequency that we can connect to in a real and meaningful, powerful way. So the other thing that's really cool about Raguel, I love this. You can never just be a really good guy. So, as great as he is, he's actually been reprobated at a church council, go figure, in Rome in 745 AD, or the Common Era, along with other high-ranking angels like Uriel. It was really interesting when I read that fact. I thought, somehow it's not surprising, and yet... And yet. People. Have you ever noticed sometimes people just need drama to feel alive? So in Gnosticism, which is a pursuit of illumination, of spiritual wisdom, gnosis, knowing through knowing, Raguel is equated with Telesis, who is another great angel, whose name actually means free will. So this idea of this balance in this place of freedom and free will. In other spiritual science models, Raguel is actually part of the angels known as the Principalities, who focus on assuring order to the structure of the divine will. This is kind of fun for all the Geminis in the house. Raguel is actually linked to the zodiac sign of Gemini. So all of our little twin signs out there, yay! It's also said that Raguel may help you communicate with you by guiding you to direct your anger, rather things where maybe it doesn't need to go, but directed that anger, that fire, that passion at injustice, coming up with constructive solutions to unjust situations that you encounter, which I think is a great way to channel that sometimes excess fire that all of us carry. Fire is a beautiful energy. It's a helpful energy. It's a far-reaching energy. It's just how do we use it? Another way Raguel may help to bring justice to unjust situations is by helping you overcome apathy. Just, not making a strong choice. Connecting to this idea of free will. Sometimes our balance comes when we make the hardest choices. And it's funny, I always love how sometimes the hardest choices that we make end up with the best solutions, the best resolutions. Maybe there is a little bit of a divine intervention going on in those times. So sometimes if you notice a wake-up call that feels like it's coming to you about doing something about problems that could be surrounding ideas of dishonesty, oppression, gossip, slander, be aware Raguel may be trying to shed some light on a situation for you where you can show up and really actually ignite that fire and make a difference. And in general, if you're looking to solve conflict in a real powerful and harmonious way, ask Raguel. Good morning, Cherry Berry. It's nice to see you. Hi, Lisa Nanda. How's everything going? You thought archangels were perfect and nobody would have to keep tabs on them. Yeah, this is a really good point. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. You wish Uriel could stop the war. Oh, let's talk about that too. So the interesting thing about the archangels is that whilst we perceive them as a higher dimension, as in they vibrate at a frequency that is faster than our own, which is why when we are in this level of density of matter, we don't perceive them as well. But have you ever noticed that little babies just kind of stare into space? They're much closer to that lighter connection because they're just being birthed into the form, this density where matter is objectified, right? Same thing with people who are making their transition out of their body. They have a greater ability to perceive these more subtle frequencies. Well, just because something is at a higher frequency doesn't mean that they're at a perfect frequency. So this is why even traditionally in religions, we know that there are angels that work for the light and angels that work for the darkness. There are holy or profane angels. And whilst we may call something holy or profane, remember it's all about balance. And if everything was light, that would be one way to experience the universe. If everything was darkness, that would be another way as well. And yet it's this constriction between the two that's constantly leading us to a place of expansion. So in some of the esoteric sciences, especially in the Rosicrucian tradition and the Holy Grail lineage, there's an understanding that the archangels are just like us, except maybe a bit more, I use that term loosely, developed and lighter. But they still have their own process of evolution in which they're seeking, in which they're pursuing. I actually talk about this in a free course. And if you'd like to learn more about that, just go to my teacher's page and click on our website link, and it'll take you to where you can learn more about that. But it's a really interesting science where we know that there's archangels that will step in at different times in humanity and really define their projection, their energy, their frequency into mankind so that we can really grasp whatever lesson that they're connected with that we need in any given moment to help us define our own evolution. And the idea is that when they could be doing anything else, right? They're archangels. And yet they have chosen to be here because almost like the bodhisattvas, where they have connected to an element of their divinity and they're staying to hold space, to help intercede. There's 7 archangels who do the same for us. 7 main archangels. Plus many, 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 many more. But they're also on their own course of expansion. So back in I believe it was the 4th century, there was a writer who really helped us delineate how the stages of the angels in relation to where we are and in relation to the divine. So the archangels are still, whilst they are closer to the divine than we are, they're not at the divine yet. And so they still have places in which they can evolve and shift and grow. So many of these archangels, these 7 archangels, are actually working to move towards the place of what are called the Archai, or the spirits of time. It's a place of expansion where there's just more for them as well. So remember that we are all, the universe is constantly seeking expansion. If we perceive that the divine is looking to understand itself more purely through your consciousness, your embodiment, my consciousness, my embodiment, that of an archangel's, that of one might call a demon, we're constantly feeding back information to the divine, and the divine is also constantly expanding, even though it already all is, because in its totality that encompasses all, there's always movement. There's always that expanding motion. Conversely, there's actually always the state of contraction, which is why we're kind of moving in this particular phase. So as the divine continues to expand and we're expanding with it, this is where these much deeper principles and understandings come in. So while it might seem like it's a lot easier to be an archangel here in this world, and it probably is, they still have their own, for lack of a better word, battles in which to fight. And when it comes to, for instance, Uriel, the lioness of God, or the lion of God, stepping in war, we have to remember too that our perception of war, when we look at it, we're looking at it from a very myopic perspective. We're looking at it from a place of right here, right now. And the reality is that it feeds into a much larger understanding. And if we perceive that life is continual, that energy is neither created nor destroyed, there will always be a movement outward. And so while something may end, it has to end to allow for a new beginning. Does it make war the ultimate of where we want to be? No. Is it a result of the tensions between the two extremes of what we might call light and dark? Absolutely. Can war ever defeat us? No. Unless you allow yourself to become entwined in that game, in that cycle. And if you do, that's cool too. There's always a place of expansion for us in any moment. Lisa Nandi said, didn't the church just invent darkness to scare people as well as angels who are in the dark side? Church also talks about hell, which you don't believe in. Yeah. So the idea of light and dark is something that many believe that makes sense to humanity because we exist on a planet where we do experience night and day, light and dark. And there are many perceive that darkness is bad. If we go back, and there are many theories on this, of which I will share. One of the main theories is that at a time when the church was when a religious organization was looking to expand its control over the populace, not necessarily spread religion or spirituality or deeper truths or understanding, but when the bureaucratic body of this organization was looking to expand, it was very easy to demonize that which needed to be controlled. Throughout the course of history, we know the power of the feminine. The feminine occurs at the time of night. That's whenever the feminine energy, that receptive energy, embraces us. The moon, la luna, that's that lunar energy coming through. This is back in the day when people who were very grounded and connected into nature, into the earth, would perform certain connecting tasks, rituals, experiences. And they were all led by the feminine. Perhaps you're understanding my gist. Look at those hearts. I think you are. And on the idea of hell, I truly believe that hell is any time that we live and disconnect from the divine, from the purity, from the truth, from the power, from the presence of who we are at our very core. That is a very hellish place to be, trying to fight your way up river, upstream, with currents coming at you all the time, being pushed, being pulled, not being able to be in the flow. That's pretty hellish, isn't it? So no matter where we define it, where we understand it to be, this life, we've been told that the kingdom of heaven is within. It's right here. It's right now. It is in the now moment. So if you want to walk on streets of gold, do it now. Why wait? Why project into the future? If you're scared of something happening, I don't want to go there, I don't want to experience that, be careful what you're wishing for, because that's the vibration you're starting to pull towards you. Be in the present. Be right here, right now. Jenny, you said you love that explanation of energy. We can find that light anywhere because it's eternal. Always. Audra, perception, labels, and definitions, aren't they all subjective? Period. Absolutely. 100%. How you perceive the ring that's on my finger is very different than if I were to shift my hand in all these different directions. And the truth is it's incumbent on us to consider, to understand, to search, and to find our truth, our connection point. I think it's one of the reasons we're also admonished to be very slow to judge others, because their path is where they are in that moment. And all we can do is be the truest me, you, our truest self. Knowing that as soon as we say, I've got all the answers, we've stopped. And if we live in a universe of constant expansion, that's kind of a hellish place in which to find oneself. I love this dialogue. Thank you so much for your conversation here. Love that. Lisa, you're right. It is depending on our state of mind. Audra, I think you're right. It's that continual search and receptivity to allow. As soon as we say, I've got it all, man, we've just cut off source. Hi, City Jam. I see you, friend. I'm glad you're here. So I know we've really chatted a long time, but it's interesting. I actually, even before really getting in with Raguel, kind of a little thing that I do in my own brain, he's actually already starting to come through so powerfully. I love that. So go ahead and find your most comfortable position, either seated or laying down. And Stephanie, will come back to your question at the end too. I see that. Just begin to witness and notice your breath. And just witness where you are right here, right now. You may be stirring, moving. It feels like there's a lot of this kind of movement happening around us. Let's see if we've, just for a moment, we can bring ourselves to a point of stillness and bring your attention to the place of your heart. Witnessing your breath. taking a deep breath in, holding that breath in, allowing your heart to relax, your body to relax. Then gently exhale, allowing the heart to relax, the body to relax as you hold that breath out. Now inhale, allowing the heart to relax, the body to relax, holding that breath in. Now exhale, relaxing the heart, the mind, calming the body, holding that breath out. One more deep inhale in, holding that breath in, feeling relaxation throughout your entire body. Relaxing the heart, relaxing the mind, and when you're ready, exhale. If you have a grounding practice, I invite you to begin that now. If not, think, imagine, or feel a beautiful golden cord of light originating at the base of your spine in that first energy center. And that golden cord of light begins to shift all the way down out of your body, through the floor, into the earth, through the ground, wrapping itself around a central point that feels comfortable to you, feels good and right to you, balanced. In the center part of the earth, you may see yourself rooting in, you may see yourself wrapping or entwining around something in the very core of our mother. Use this grounding cord to allow any energy that's in your space, it's already begun to bubble up to the surface that you're ready to let go of, to begin to shift, to flow out and down, arriving to the center part of the earth, allowing our mother to recycle this energy, to redistribute it, refine it, wherever it needs to go. And as you do that, begin to imagine, see a golden sun above your head. Notice the rays of that golden sun and how good it feels on your space, shining down, generating warmth, a feeling of comfort. And as you do, begin to allow those rays, those golden rays, to soak in through the top of your head, descending down throughout your entire physical and energy bodies, shifting, moving, covering. Breathing in those golden rays of light. Releasing anything you're ready to let go of. Taking a deep breath in, holding that breath in, allowing the heart to relax, and gently exhale. deep breath in. Hold that breath in. Allow your heart to relax. And release that breath. I invite you now to begin to shift your attention to your first energy center, that first chakra at the base of your spine, sitting in that hip bowl area. Think, imagine, or feel a beautiful ruby red color. Begin to invite that color into this lower part of your torso. Gently at first, and if it feels good, intensify the color, intensify the frequency. Turn up the volume just a little bit. Breath in, hold that breath in, relax the heart. And as you exhale, allow your attention now to shift to your second energy center right behind your navel or your belly button. Think, imagine, or feel a beautiful orange color beginning to infiltrate that entire lower part of your abdomen area. Take a deep breath in, hold that breath in, relaxing the body. And when you're ready, exhale and shift your attention now to your third energy center by your diaphragm, your solar plexus. Think, imagine, or feel a beautiful yellow. Find your yellow today. Perhaps it's a vibrant canary yellow. Perhaps it's a gentle daffodil. Find your perfect volume and expression of this yellow, bringing it into your third energy center, that third chakra. Taking a deep breath in, holding that breath in, allowing the body to relax. And when you exhale, shift your attention now to the place of your heart, inviting in an emerald green. Feel the frequency, the tonality, the sound of emerald green resonating throughout your entire heart space. Soaking in this green. Taking a deep inhale in, relaxing your heart, feeling that green invigorate your entire physical system. And exhale, shifting your attention now to your throat, that fifth energy center. Connecting to a beautiful sky blue. Feeling the truth of this color for you, right here, right now. Finding your perfect volume of this sky blue frequency. Taking a deep breath in, holding that breath in, relaxing the heart. Now go with me on this. Direct your attention now to the Ulta major chakra, which exists at the base of your spine, the top of the very top of your spine and the base of your skull, right back in here in that soft spot. Frequently there's places, it's a place of pain for people. It's also a place of ecstasy in many ways. Think, imagine, or feel a beautiful turquoise color shifting up into that back point, the base of your skull. Finding the perfect volume, the perfect frequency for you today, right now. Good. Balancing that energy center in relation to all of your major chakras. Beautiful. Take a deep breath in, hold that breath in. Allow the heart to relax and exhale. And as you do, just allow your attention now to shift into your 6th energy center. We think of it as the third eye. You may perceive it in the center part of your brain. Find your perfect position today to connect with your 6th energy center. There are so many aspects that flow into this tiny seed of knowingness. Find your coordinates today. Think, imagine, or feel a gentle indigo color, the color of the midnight sky. Finding the balance for you. Taking a deep inhale in, holding that breath in, allowing the heart to relax, the body to relax. And exhale. Allowing your attention now to rise to the crown of your head, that 7th energy center, the seed of the 1,000-petal lotus. Think, imagine, or feel the loveliest of violet colors, that soft purple. There's a freedom, a gentle moving of this purple. Take a deep breath in, hold that breath in, relaxing the heart, the mind, and the body. And as you exhale, allow your attention to shift up and out of your physical system, right above your head, into your 8th energy center. Think, imagine, or feel a beautiful white light that you can see through. You perceive it as white, but you can also see through this color. It's not opaque, it's transparent, it's a translucent white. It may feel like a clear pearl to you, with a bit of an opalescent sheen. Find your white. Make sure you can see through it. Beautiful. Now take a deep breath in. Hold that breath in. Holding that breath in, relaxing the body. Now begin to perceive from this place of the white light. Let's move back down. Move into your attention into the 7th energy center. Keeping that breath held. Down to the 6. Let's say hello to the back of the skull and the Ulta Major. Beautiful. down into the 5th. Perfect. One more into the 4th, and exhale, relaxing the heart. Perfect. Taking a deep inhale in, filling the lungs again, holding that breath in. And as we do, say hello to your heart. Then say hello to that 3rd energy center in your solar plexus area. Descending down, giving greetings to your 2nd energy center, the navel. And then arriving back in the 1st energy center. And as you do, exhale, release ground, releasing anything you're ready to let go of down that grounding cord out into the center of the earth. Coming back into present time, your present space, this present moment. And gently begin to move your body around. Shifting, wiggling, moving, coming back into this time and place. It may feel good to rub your palms together to regenerate some energy, building up that friction and that heat. And then you can deliver that new energy that you're making right now. Remember, applied pressure. And we actually do have our own quartz properties running through our physical bodies. So we're generating energy right now. Apply it wherever feels good. You may want to soak it up through your eyes. You may need to soak it up into your heart, into your knee, into your shoulder, any place that you're experiencing anything that you would like to shift, whatever that may be for you, or that you would like to empower and enliven. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can do that multiple times, whatever feels good to you. Keep going, keep doing that. Continue to deliver that energy. When you're ready, if you really want to come back, snap your fingers a couple of times and rejoin. I'd love to hear how that was for you. I'm going to pop into the chat here in a second. And one of the things, too, that I'll just reflect back of what the bowls really spoke today, of this beautiful fluid integration between heaven and earth. If you notice at the beginning, and it didn't occur to me until towards the end, that and reflecting back on the total flow of the day, I think one of the reasons the bowls were just speaking, even while we were talking that first half hour, was because there was this really subtle yet profound reminder of that your heaven is right here, right now, and you don't have to be somewhere else in order to experience your perfected divine state. That's up to us. We get to choose when and how we connect to that. And the bowl showed that so powerfully. I also loved that when we did start connecting into Raguel, this energy really kept us floating in these higher states, in these really beautiful higher tonality. And then he started bringing in these very low bowls, these bowls that reminded us, hello, hello, it's all connected. And really grounding into this definable space. And I laughed right before we started. I was like, I can't believe we're going to do this, but okay. We started going into this place of strong dissonance. It was possibly a little jarring to you, that's what came through. But I laughed inside later because I thought, oh, right, yeah. We're talking about war. We're talking about conflict. We're talking about points where we need to find harmony. And that's exactly what happened. We shifted from this beautiful state into something that felt contrasting and felt dissonant and not so comfortable. And yet it resolved into this really lovely place. And I'll tell you, it was just a function of how it was built. If this is your first time here, especially with the Archangelic series, which we only have a couple more of, just so you know, none of this is planned on my part at all. This is what I hear. This is where I'm led. There have been weeks where I've actually had an image of someone pointing to a bowl. I'm like, okay, I'll play this one next. And then there's times where I feel where the bowls what needs to be resonated. And there's sometimes I actually hear it. And today was kind of a little bit of a combination of all of the above, which was interesting to me, this finding the balance. So it was a really beautiful experience. But let's hear how this was for you. I just wanted to share some of that. And Jeremy, I know that Stephanie before too, she had a question as well. If the archangels are reaching for expansion, will there ever come a point when they do not expand to the next place, or they will no longer exist as an archangel? Or maybe I'm not understanding. Such a great question, Stephanie. So the understanding from the Rosicrucian tradition and perspective is that there is everything is in a constant state of expansion, and there's movement up and let's just say in and out. So there's expansion and contraction happening simultaneously. When it comes to our perceived level, so that to say, we're never just expanding. We're also in some ways contracting to allow for other areas of expansion. That's a much more subtle conversation. The question that you're asking is that if we are from a singular perspective, right, of a continued forward trajectory that we'll call expansion, the expansion is always happening, and the idea, many believe that humanity, I'm sure you've heard about the movement into the fifth dimension, the movement into greater consciousness. So back in the day, like Holy Grail time, the mystic understanding is that man is developing towards that plane, that state of the angels. So our next place of evolution is towards what we might be calling the angelic realm. Just as we're expanding, so are the angels. So the angels are continuing on their trajectory as well, which is connecting into what we would call the Archai, or as I said, the spirits of time. It's just the next step. It's part of moving towards what we, in our limited human understanding, have called the Principalities. That's kind of that next stage of evolution for angels. And so angels move into the archangelic realm. The archangelic realm moves towards the levels of the Principalities. Really interesting writing on that. It's called Origins. I believe the book is called Origins. And I can picture the front of the book is plain as day. I'll have to bring this next time so I can show you. But it's really interesting reading, and it breaks down the ideas of these different states of evolution for us all. And so that kind of, I hope I spoke enough to your point on that, Stephanie, as to how that is sort of all working. Yeah. Audra, source is mysterious and beautiful. 100%. Charlotte, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate your generosity. Thank you, my friend. I hope you're having a great day. Audrey, yay, look at all your hearts. Yay, emojis. Audrey, you said it was a very delicate energy. Yeah, yes, it was. Victoria, so lovely. Thank you so much. Good. Much love to you as well, my friend. I'm glad you joined us. Thank you. Amber, it was beautiful. Yeah, it did have this very harmonizing effect today, which makes sense with Raguel. Ruth Ann, this was beautiful. Thank you so much, Ruth Ann. Yes, beautiful tones and frequencies definitely came through today. Jenny, you said, at the end, you saw a point of light and a figure walked out towards me. I love that. It was beautiful and brought so much love into my house. Wow. Thank you for guiding you there. Of course. This was you. The cool thing, too, about the bowls is that no matter who shows up in the room, something interesting always happens, and it's a function of you also sharing and bringing your energy, your biofield, your electrical current into the space so that the bowls resonate in a more unique space that can also be beneficial to you. The cool thing about that, too, is that you don't even have to join us live to have that effect. Quantum entanglement. Sonia, this was your first time experiencing this. It was beautiful. Oh, I love this. You said you saw my grandmother at with the transparent light in the 8th chakra. Interesting. Your most favorite human. Oh, I love that. Thank you. That I'm hearing that means she's always very close to you. I wonder if that resonates. So the 8th chakra. So white light is a really powerful place that, just like anything, can be used to our benefit or our detriment. It's like water. We need water. You can also kill yourself by having too much water. And I don't just mean drowning. I mean actually taking in too much water. So there's always a balance based on our current physical makeup and understanding and how we're showing up in the world. So the white is a very powerful place. So that's really neat, Sonia, that your grandmother, your beautiful grandmother, who, what a lovely feeling, was there with you. I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Lori, beautiful experience. Good. I'm glad that was good for you. You feel very peaceful. Excellent. Yeah, yeah. It was interesting too, moving up the chakras, out and then back down and through. That reintegration, grounding back in. I guess that really reflects back to a lot of the tones that were coming through with Raguel. So again, I love this. I love the fact that everything is in the moment. There's nothing that's pre-planned. There's nothing that's thought, that's going back to the idea of when man plans, God laughs. I learned that a long time ago. Just let it go. So, Amber, you said the colors were very clear. Excellent. That's good. One of the reasons in some of the different clair vision type of practices, a lot of the really deeply mystery school based energy practices, is that we want to connect with clear colors, because whenever we perceive a color as clear, it's a reflection of our own information, of our own frequency of that color. So there's just us in that color. When that color begins to become clouded or muddy, there's other frequencies, there's other things going on in that color. And we don't always want to bring in other things that we don't know what is in that color into our space. It's much better to really only bring in our own information, because we can only do anything. This body only works for me with my life if I'm the one who's running my starship, right? So you want to make sure that it's you captaining your vessel. So that's one of the reasons that we go with that very clear color. Amber, thank you so much for sharing that. I love seeing that. And it's appropriate too, amber color. Stephanie, thank you for the beauty and eloquence of your energy, your explanation, and your bowls. That's so kind. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you, my friend. It's always a joy to be here with you, and I appreciate it. Sizzle Sticks on YouTube, you said, interesting, you just described how my thoughts were going. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, it's never a dull moment. Everything is connected. Science actually is finally catching up with the mystics, where the science is showing, oh, right. We actually now have mathematical equations that we can show that the protons are all connected. And at the very core of these protons are black holes. And black holes, actually, what we thought were a point of destruction, are actually a point of creation. Oh, amazing. I downplayed a very amazing and poignant scientific breakthrough that will absolutely change the face of how we move on this earth. But its power and impact remains the same. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, who can we laugh at? So it's always good to be with you, my friends. We will be back next week. I can't believe we're coming towards the end of October. This has been I've really enjoyed doing this series, pursuing this series with you. Like I said, it's been a limited edition, 8-part series. Jeremy, who are we connecting with next week? It is. Next week is our last series. That's right, because today is 7 of 8. And next week is 8 of 8. And oh my goodness, for whatever reason, if there was an anticipation of which angels I was really excited to connect to, the first one was definitely Michael. But this one, next week, has always kind of had this very mysterious pull to me. So I'm not going to lie, I'm a little excited to see how it all goes. Next week is Archangel Uriel. And Uriel is thought to, he's a very mysterious archangel, and that makes sense. Uriel connects us with this illumination of God. But when we think of the divine, when we think of illumination, we're like, oh yeah, turn on the spotlights, shine all the information on it. But you know what? Seldom are we ever ready. If we've walked into a dark room, when you turn on all the lights, like, oh, holy cow, it's way too much. So the role of Uriel is for the subtle illumination. It's almost like having one of these old-fashioned, really cool lanterns that would illuminate the next step one at a time, and then the next step after that, and after that, giving us just enough information for all that we can handle at any given time. And in many ways, that's a huge blessing. So we're never blinded by the light. So Uriel, there's a lot of other interesting stuff about him too. I can't wait to get into it. Yes. So I hope you'll join us. Next week, we're back to our normal Friday. So we'll be back next Friday, which is October 27th. Is that the 7th or the 8th, Jeremy? Checking calendars. So it's next Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So we know that that's October 27th at 9 a.m. Eastern next Friday. Archangel Uriel. I hope you'll join us. Stephanie, would you ever consider doing the archangels again now that you've educated us and we are all more familiar with them? I'm really glad you asked. We're actually doing a series. Technically, I am not supposed to share this because it's not on this particular platform. But if you want to learn more about it, you can also check out our YouTube. And in the description at the bottom, there's information about that upcoming series. I'm so excited about it. I'm bringing in some really incredible guests, incredible minds, and the material that has been prepared for it and for you is that you'll get to keep even beyond the lessons is really out of this world. So if you want to join us, reach out to me. If you want more information about that, you can always reach out to me. You can direct message me on Insight Timer. You can send me a quick email message, hello@charlene.com. You can drop pop over to the teachers page on Insight Timer, click on our website. It will take you and get you adjusted wherever you need to go. If you're on YouTube, you can drop down into the description. And, we really try to honor everybody and every platform and the space in which we're in. So if that works for you, we'd love to see you there. If it doesn't, I understand that too. And I do. I love this series. It's been so powerful. And I will say it's absolutely impacted and shaped the way that I've been able to understand the angelic realms. I think anytime we bring in a different dimensionality of knowledge or of understanding, there's a different gnosis that suddenly happens, that knowledge, that deeper knowingness. And for me, because this is my language, suddenly you really begin to unlock, oh, look at these patterns in a really profound way. It was actually happening towards the end of the session today, of really leaning into some of the understanding of even this theory that I've developed called the archetypes of sound. And these archetypes, how the relationship between each of the notes, of how that we can define that in a way that makes more sense to us through the use of archetypes and really bringing that home. And so today I was even having massive revelations in the work that I'm doing right now, even besides this. So, I pray that these experiences have the same type of impact, whatever that may be, big, small, it doesn't matter. Any impact is an impact, right? Because there's a ripple effect. And sometimes we crescendo towards the ripple. We can start with very small, and then it just gets loud and really exciting. And sometimes we start with a major impact that then just kind of continues, and you don't even realize how long of an impact that single instance has had. So wherever you fall in that category, it is my honest prayer that it's beneficial to you. I'm not doing this for me, though I am very blessed to get to receive benefits as well too. So I hope it's good for you. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure. I can't wait to see you next week on our final installment of the Songs of the Archangels. Next week, Friday, October 27th, 9 a.m. Friday. I'll see you then. Until then, know how loved you are. Not only by those you can see, but by those who come to us in different ways, who ask us to ask them for their support, their guidance, because their love is always there. So wherever your path may take you today, may you trot it with confidence, with grace, with sincerity, and with the deep knowingness you matter. I love you, friends. I'll see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Sat Nam.